everyone. Welcome to Kelly's Creative Dream Studios, and it is a belated Happy Mother's Day. I hope your day was awesome. I am starting out with a cup of coffee, and I got these salted caramel hot cocoa toppers at Walmart over the holidays, and I'm wishing I'd have bought more because they're great sprinkles on top of my coffee. This year when they come up, I'm buying a whole case of them, so I have them ready to go. But we're not here to talk about coffee. Well, we could be. But I wanted to show you today, I'm going to try getting back into card making stuff. But here's the thing. Right now I don't really need any cards. And as you'll see in a couple of weeks when I do a walkthrough of my stamping, filming, creative corner, I have enough cards to last me a while. I also have way more paper than I'll ever need. But that's a whole nother story. But several years ago, and it was a gentleman on Split Coast that showed how to make these boxes, and they're perfect for holding your cards in envelopes. Now, I had mine up on a shelf by theme, and I had them back to back, so I had mountains and valleys, mountains and valleys. But I decided that setting up there on that top shelf, they were never getting used, and I had way more cards for some of the boxes as I was making cards than I needed. I had way more cards than I needed for boxes that I had. So, you stuff these back where they belong. And so I thought what I would do is I would show you how to make these. If you only make a few cards and you want to be able to keep them handy, they look beautiful on a shelf. I used all Stampin' Up! Papers and cardstocks when I did these, and my Stampin' Up! Label punch. But you start with, and I'm going to leave this on the counter here in just a few minutes so you can have the dimensions. But you start with a piece of 8.5 by 11, or I'm sorry, 12 by 9 piece of paper. And you've got your cut lines, your score lines, and then you cut your other papers just about an 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 inch smaller, all the way around, so that you get your liners. But I have taken these all apart, and I'm going to punch shapes out of these. I should have bought that punch at that thrift store last week. Now that I look at that, that would have been so much easier. But then you just fold them up and fold them up until you have these cute little boxes to store your cards in. So, I'm going to be cutting those apart. So here are the dimensions. Let me flip this over on the yellow so you can see it better. You're going to cut a piece of 12 by 9. You're going to, on the 9 by side, you're going to score at the 2 inch and the 7 inch, and then give them a cut diagonally. You're also going to score 6 inches and 8 inches. That gives you this bottom gusset. And then just fold it up and give your score lines, fold it up, and then you can tell from there how to make your DSP shapes. Now, one tip that I did have is to glue to put your DSP, your designer series paper, your pattern paper on before you glue your box together. It's much easier to see your shapes. And I had these cut for some reason, but I don't know which ones were which. I have no clue. Don't look at those. Those must have been for a different project. So there are, if you want to zoom in and take a picture of that, we'll show you. This is your score lines here and here and here and here. You're also going to cut on these solid lines in, because that's what creates your flap, so that you can score on that fold line and bring those up, okay? So you're going to cut 12 by 9. On the 9 inch side, score on the 2 inch and the 7 inch. And on the 12 inch side, you're going to score on the 6 and the 8. This diagonal is a 2 inch diagonal. And there you go. That's a handy dandy little way to keep your cards. Now, as I said, I really don't need any more cards, but here is my issue. I took part in the Art and Junk Journal retreat this weekend, and if you watched my flip through on Friday, you saw what I used. I used a collection of paper called Positively Prints from the Holiday 09 catalog. And I'm looking here, I should have pieces left because that's what I wanted to play with today. I have a few pieces left, and while I don't need any more, here's what the paper line looked like. And while I don't need any more cards, I also am trying to break down my paper pads. So I have a stack here of what I have left, trying to gather them all neatly over here. But I have like 3 different projects going where I put stuff away after the journal project. So I have this left, and I have this left, and I could make more cards. Do I need more cards? No. So here's what I'm going to do with them instead. And I've got you along for the ride for about 10 minutes. Recording this on Sunday, and Bob is taking me for all I can eat crab legs today. He knows the way to his wife's heart, let me tell you. Now I will come back and use these at some point because I won't need these in my paper catalog anymore. So I'm going to move these aside, stick them up there in the shelf. I have little pieces. I love this floral. It's probably part of my favorite from that collection. That and this peach dot are some of my favorites. So what I thought I would do is I would see if I could get a couple of tags made. You know what? Instead of a couple of tags, let's do a master board that I could use. This Argyle was not my favorite at all. But there was that blue, and there was way too much of that denim blue, I'm telling you. I feel like I might have gotten a couple of tick bites while I was out running around in the yard trying to get some stuff done. But I have tag bases here. I just had them yesterday. I have really gotten this corner organized, and I am so impressed with myself. Now I have a masterpiece here that I was using for my tags, but now I have my pieces from Maddie from Spectrum Art Creations, and I don't really need those. So let's take a couple of those bases out of the way. These are all cut for bases. Let's go ahead and use some of those. And we're just going to throw together a couple of quick tags. Now these do not have to be anything magical. But I think what I am going to do is I'm going to start with one that is green. And you don't even have to cut your papers. That's the beauty of this. You don't have to cut your papers. Now this one won't fit that tag, but it'll fit this tag. So I'm going to go ahead and put this one in place. Uh-oh. Where is my glue? Oh, there it is, right in front of me. There's my glue right in front of me. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put the glue on my... Let me get a glue mat down so I don't have glue on everything. I love these from Stampin' Up, and I'm really good at losing track of them. So about every time I place a Stampin' Up order, I pick up a couple more glue mats. If nothing else, I can use them as gifts in Happy Mail because they are so super handy. Now I want the green up, so I'm going to go ahead and do this. And all I'm going to do is push that down into shape, turn this, and I'm going to roll it with my face massager from Dollar Tree. This is great for small stuff. And then I'm going to flip it over and get out my scissors. My handy dandy little tool bag over here. Now any little pieces like this I am not saving. I don't want them around. So I'm going to snip that one off. I probably should have set my timer so I knew where I was at, because I do need to record a video for my homesteading channel. I do Meal Plan Mondays on my homesteading channel, and I will link it down below if you want to come see what's going on the homestead. This year there's not going to be a lot of gardening. My beds just are not ready for it, and between the temperatures and the almost constant rain, it's too late to really do anything. So I'm going to really spend this year prepping my beds, and then I'm going to go with it. Now I've got the green. I've got this blue, or this floral. I like that. But I think I want to, let's square it up a little bit. I have got to call Fiskars tomorrow. I am so tired of fighting with this blade. It doesn't matter where in this track I put this, my blade will fall out just about every time I flip it open. So unless I'm really slow and careful. So let's square this up for starters. And there's my piece to go in my trash. Make sure my edges are good. And then I'm going to cut this at the diagonal. Now because I have points here and here, I'm going to start the trimmer blade in the center so that I can go out to that point and then down to this point, and then that way I don't get the burrs on the points of the paper. Okay, so we have this. Let's give this a little bit of distress. Just like this. And I'm using walnut stain is the one that I usually keep over here on my table. And I'm going to put it right there. So let's give it a little bit of glue. And I really love this peach, so I'll show you what I'm going to do with the peach. I have some strips of the peach. And I hardly ever use my decorative scissors or my lace edge punch. So we're going to take a piece of this, and I want to make sure it's long enough for the tag this way. And let me grab my punch really quick. This old Martha Stewart punch is one of my favorites. I use it a lot. Now I could put fabric lace on here and that would be fine. The only challenge is if you're putting fabric or lace on a tag and then expect it to go into the pocket, you very well could run into challenges with getting it in the pocket without tearing things up. So I recommend for tags to use paper trims anytime possible. And I'm going to come back in here, line that one up. And there's this one. Snap those pieces off. Now this is a long piece. I may save that one for a cluster. That one I may save. And I'm going to move my scrap cup over here. Dab that stuff out of the way. Bring this back up. Now I did do that long. I knew that was going to be long. But I can either go here or I can turn it and go this way. I think I want to go this way. So instead of putting the glue on here, because I already know it's too long, I'm going to run the glue right up the side of the tag, just like that. And then it will catch. Okay. Again, I want to avoid bulk if I want to put this in a pocket. So I'm going to snip that off. Snip that off. And see, that would look cute on a cluster. That little piece I'll hang on to. But we need something down here. And I'm going to flip this over here first so I can see to punch my hole. Just like that. But we need something else. And I think we need words. Words. Not metal words. Something thinner. I'm thinking of what I might have handy. And I don't really know if I have anything handy. But I was looking to see where I just put my cat stickers from Tim Holtz. There they are. I had moved them just this morning. And of course, you know, once you move something, let's use Chit Chat. like to find something that has to do with friendship, or this one seems to have a lot about festive, because it says seasonal. Go figure. That one's a little long. Oh, I like this one. I like this one. Let me get my glue sticky scissors here. It's always the small pieces that make the big picture. I like that. And I'm going to dust my edges. And of course, brown ribbon on here would look kind of cool, but I just put it away. But it's always the small pieces that make the big picture. And if I had something from Tim Holtz that was in here that was small, I'd use it, because we really need something else on there. And all I have over here is his Halloween pictures, and I don't think that's quite what I want to use. But a paper doll would work. I think Friday or next Monday, we're going to work on fixing my paper doll books, because all the little pocket thingies, all the double-sided tape has come apart, and so I need to replace all those pockets, and I got the industrial tape to do that. I thought about sewing them, but I'm not really sure I like the idea of sewing around the vellum. I'm just so afraid it's just going to tear the vellum. What about these little girls on here? Oh, they're almost too big. They hide the words. Should have thought about them sooner. But there's these little sisters here. They'd be about right. They'll work. And we'll worry about those later. And I am going to give them a little bit of shadow so that they'll pop off. They'll pop off the page a little bit, just enough. And remember, if there's any chance that this is going in a pocket, I don't want to use any dimensional. So, we're going to not do that. And I could have put this up a little earlier. And I think I still can. We can fix that. Everything is fixable. It's only paper, right? See what happens if I do this. I could screw it up even more, but we'll see. Oh yeah, these are gel highlighters, and I didn't realize that they were going to be almost like a crayon tip. They're waxy. They're not the best highlighters, but I'm sure I can find something to use them in. Yeah, we don't want to do that. But what do we got for a little bitty flower? Something flat. Something, oh, not a car. We don't want a car on there. That wouldn't be cool. But we do have this. Not that one. Let's use this one. And put a little piece of this flower paper on there. So it kind of looks like it belongs. And we're just going to do that. And we'll cover that boo-boo up just like that. Nothing picky. Nothing big. Okay, so there's our project for today. You have the directions for making your card holders. If you have questions, let me know. I can always email you a JPEG file. You can always email me and request that. My email is in the description box below. I try to check my email every day, but I'm not offering any promises. In the meantime, please remember to like, share, subscribe, and tell me, what are you doing with your scraps to try and destash your studio? Creative blessings.